Hello and welcome to Montgomery County Police Beat. I'm Patrick Lacefield, Director of Montgomery County's Office of Public Information. I'm here with Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger and Sergeant Kathy Estrada to talk about the mission and the growth of the department's Community Engagement Division. Chief Manger, Sergeant Estrada, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
Thank you for asking.
Now, community engagement, this is not a new concept, and in a certain sense, police have been doing community engagement since there were police. How has that evolved over the years?
You know, you look at some of the high-profile incidents that have occurred over the last several years that involve the police in the community and things that typically didn't go very well. Mm-hmm. And this whole notion of community engagement has taken on a greater sense of importance, and it has also, I guess in Montgomery County, we have recognized the fact that there are certain groups that typically interact with the police and we have good relationships with, but we needed to focus on those groups that didn't have as much contact with the police, that perhaps were afraid of the police or just never thought to invite the police into one of their meetings or thought there was any value perhaps in having a stronger relationship with the police. Mm-hmm. So this is where we've sort of, I believe, taken it to another level to make sure, because the whole purpose of this is to increase trust between the community and the police department. Mm-hmm.
Now, Sergeant Estrada, you work in the trenches on this every day. What are some of the barriers that you see from different communities? What do people bring to the table that you need to kind of try and address?
Well, first thing, a lot of the community aren't aware of what community engagement is, right. And they're fearful. So we've taken a different approach. What we like to do is we actually like to go out there and interact with the community. Mm-hmm. My own personal philosophy is that if I'm in the office for more than an hour, I'm doing something wrong. Right. So I like to go out there and knock on doors, go to different agencies, associations, right. in order to let them know what community engagement right. our division is and how I can help them and how right. they can help me. Right. And I've been very successful. For example, the Gilchrist Center, the Immigration Resource Center, invited me to their staff meeting. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be a 15-minute talk. I ended up staying for an hour and a half, having dinner with them, mm-hmm. and opening a dialogue in which I can be able to help them with any of their events, their resources, and since I'm bilingual, right. help them out with any of their Spanish discussion classes that they have.
Right, right.
Yeah, and Patrick, this is what Kathy just described is exactly, I think, the value of the Community Engagement Division. Here she goes for what's supposed to be sort of a 15-minute meet and greet, say, hey, this is who I am, this is what we do, and all of a sudden they say, well, wait a minute, we can plug you into, 5 or 6 different
Plus we've
meetings.
got food for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that too. That always helps. But this is, that all of a sudden, right. the police department is attending meetings and getting involved in things that previously we were never invited to, nor did anybody think to have us attend. So what Kathy just described is exactly what I believe the value of our Community Engagement Division brings to the table.
Now, of course, immigration is a huge national issue, and there are local elements to it as well. When you're going out and you're doing some of this community engagement work, does the difference between somebody being a legal resident or a citizen and or being undocumented or illegal, how does that figure into the dynamic?
It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't at all.
Uh-huh. For us,
right?
It doesn't matter for what we're trying to do, and again, Kathy is great because so often a lot of the folks that we're dealing with speak Spanish. Right. Basically telling them we're here to help you. We are your police department. Right. Doesn't matter what your status is. If you are the victim of a crime, if you need help, we're here to help you.
Or if you have any questions. Right. I'm here. I'm your resource.
Now, does some of this go back to cultural issues in terms of, people may have come from countries where the police were not always their friend under different regimes?
Yes, in some cases it's true. I've talked to several residents in which the police are distrusted, right. or in Spanish it's called la mordida, which means right. they're under the table, right, they get paid under the table, they're corrupt. Right. So they're very fearful of that, and that's one of the reasons why CED, Community Engagement Division, has chosen to actually dress in a different way.
Right.
We're still law enforcement officers,
Right.
but we have a polo shirt, which
Right.
makes us a little bit more
Right,
approachable.
Right. Gray instead of black.
Gray instead of black. We also have navy blue.
Okay, it comes in several colors. Okay. I mean, we know that like a strong partnership with the community is important. As we see, you know, some of the national concerns with police shootings and, you know, various places. Have you seen? I mean, you're head of the National Chiefs Association. Have you seen other jurisdictions moving in some of these same directions?
I have, and the problem is that some of them don't move in this direction until they've got a crisis.
Right.
You know, they've
It's like you don't put the stoplight in until somebody gets killed in an auto accident.
Right. And so you've got this shooting that occurred that's got the community concerned or angry,
Right.
And then all of a sudden you say, oh, well, we got to improve the relationship with the community.
Right.
Well, what we're trying to do is do. We think that there's value in that, and it's important to do that in the good times, so that when the bad times strike,
Right.
You've got those relationships built in.
Right.
So much of this is about communication,
Right.
and one of the things that Sergeant Estrada and her team are doing is establishing those relationships, so that when something happens, people know to call Kathy. People know to call me. People know to call Captain Yamada, who heads up the Community Engagement Division. So if those relationships are in place and that communication has taken place in a positive, when nothing's wrong, then when something does go wrong or people are upset about something or they do have questions, those relationships, they've got it, it's built in, and they've got that communication. I think that's half the battle.
Because people are much less likely to call if they're just making a cold call to a district station and don't know who to ask for.
Exactly.
Right, right. Now, there have been some news reports in some communities of people in immigrant communities being less likely to come forward with information about crimes or about being victimized. I guess the evidence is still a little murky on it, but have you seen anything like that in Montgomery County?
We haven't seen anything like that in Montgomery County. My friends, the chief in Los Angeles, the chief in Houston, were the first two chiefs that said, yeah, we're starting to see some difference in the numbers this year compared to last year. They can't tell you. I mean, they're concerned about the fact, is this because people are fearful about coming forward in today's climate? I had folks check our numbers. Our numbers are pretty even. I mean, what we were seeing last year is pretty close to what we're seeing this year. So I don't think we're seeing that. But I think part of the reason is that when the executive orders came out on immigration that caused so much fear in the community, in fact, fear nationwide, we went on the offensive in terms of being proactive and getting our message out, repeating it, saying, listen, nothing's changed in Montgomery County. We're not the immigration police. We don't ask people about their immigration status. As we've talked about in previous programs, I mean, we do cooperate with ICE once we arrest someone, but in terms of people being crime victims, people in the community, they have nothing to worry about in terms of us asking about the immigration status.
Right. Now, I know, there are officers who work specifically in community engagement, but I mean, part of this is training that you give to all officers, and maybe both of you could talk about that a little bit. I mean, community relations is got to be an important piece in the academy when you're bringing new officers in.
Yeah, I think the most important quality that that a police officer has is their ability to communicate effectively. That is, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to talk to people who are in crisis, knowing how to talk to people who are crime victims, knowing how to talk to people who have mental health issues, knowing how to talk to people under any circumstances. And I'll tell you that the folks in our community engagement division are terrific at that.
Can you talk a little bit, what kind of training did you get at the academy on some of these things?
Well, we have a 40-hour block dealing with people in which they give us real-life scenarios. It varies. It could be somebody with a mental illness, or it could be a domestic violence situation in which it's already escalated to the point and you have to come in and diffuse the situation. And of course, the department offers various classes like CIT that teaches you how to go in and talk to different people with mental illnesses and different situations.
But I think de-escalation is one of the things that we really focus on now, because so often when the police are called to intervene in a situation, it's already, gotten volatile. And if the police can't get there and immediately try and diffuse things, de-escalate the tensions, it sometimes creates for a worse situation. So we give our cops the strategies that they can employ to calm things down, what to say, what not to say, and it's really paying off. I mean, I think you see it how in our use of force numbers, how often police officers have to use force when they arrest someone. It's so the percentage of cases is so low that it's clear that our cops are approaching these situations correctly.
In other words, the extent to which people are able to de-escalate and talk a situation down so that you don't have to use force is a mark of a good police officer.
I think so.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Now, in the wake of some of the community police disagreements and some of the police shootings, there was a notion that some police in some cities, out of defensiveness, might be backing off a little bit and maybe either leaving certain neighborhoods alone or being less aggressive in their policing because they felt like they needed to protect themselves. It's a very, very tricky issue, but do you have any thought on that?
I think you said that was a short-term issue in some jurisdictions. I know that when you've got situations where there are people protesting against the police officers are human. I mean, they think, okay, well, people don't appreciate what we do. They don't want us in their neighborhoods. And you get that sort of human reaction. But I think that passes pretty quickly. And one of the values of community engagement is, I'll tell you, the cops understand that people do appreciate what they do. I mean, the vast majority of people.
Right.
And when you look in Montgomery County, all the surveys that are done indicate that the police department here has a high approval
Like
rating.
90%
Yeah,
approval
I mean,
rating, excellent or good.
It's not 100%,
Right.
but and that's why we
Right.
that's
you're
why
out, you're out
Kathy,
after that final 10%.
that's why
right.
Kathy and her team are out there. But we do enjoy great support, and so but when cops feel like, and I've seen this in a couple other cities around the country, when cops feel like they're not appreciated, when people don't want them in their neighborhood, then there is a tendency to back off. But that's typically kind of a short-term trend that I think departments see.
Now, Sergeant Estrada, I know that the Community Engagement Division also does social media.
Yes.
You do events in the community. Can you talk about that in just a little bit?
Yes. Recently, Community Engagement Division has its own Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and contact us that way, email us if you have any questions or if you want us to appear in any event. This past Saturday, we were just at an event. The Black Legislative Caucus had their town hall meeting in Burtonsville.
Right.
So we were there. We've also gone to various events within the community. Watkins Mill had Rock the Block the other week.
Right.
And some upcoming events that we have is the World Elder Abuse Day, which is on Wednesday. And then we'll have a screening and then a panel discussion, which will feature one of our officers, Officer Reynolds, of the movie Walking While Black. And that's going to be held in the county executive office. But if you go ahead to the Montgomery County website, the calendar, it has a listing of all the events that are planned and that where we'll be there.
I think it's interesting. I've had the Community Engagement Division keep track of all of the community meetings that we attend. And that's meetings I attend, meetings that all the district commanders and their folks attend. And since last July, it is well over 1,000 meetings that we've attended. So we're getting out there, and I think that the strength of the Community Engagement Division has been a real force multiplier in terms of the police getting out into the communities.
So there's been a huge payback on this.
I think so. Yeah, it's, I think we're really seeing dramatic increases in trust in communities where typically there wasn't either wasn't much of a relationship or the relationship was not as good as we wanted it to be.
That's great.
And social media is one way to help us get that, because
Sure.
we're allowed to get the word out right away.
Right, absolutely. Okay. Well, we've run out of time, but thank you both for being here. That's quick.
I
15
know.
minutes.
It was painless.
I'm Patrick Lacefield, along with Montgomery County Police Chief Tom Manger and Sergeant Kathy Estrada. Thanks for watching, and please join us again next time for Montgomery County Police Beat, when we'll get answers straight from the chief about law enforcement issues that matter.